You guys did not message me back, by the way. Or did you guys get my message
I didn't. What?
on
I
Facebook Messenger?
I can't check my phone during the day at work. I'm
Okay.
working with my stepfather and step
Okay. All right, that's
brother
fine.
and yeah.
James, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Unplug.
Unplug apparently.
Can you hear me?
He can't.
Great.
He just shook his head. No, he can hear you.
All right. So I messaged you guys. I don't know if you guys like I thought of a way to end the episode. We could sing happy birthday to James since he doesn't like his birthday, but I just
Yeah.
thought it'd be a nice thing to do for him.
We can do that.
it.
Yep.
So we could
Sounds
try and
good.
reverse the curse. That's what I'm
Sounds
thinking.
good. Sounds good.
Nice.
You guys good with that? That's how we end
You're
the episode.
you're awesome, Rob. I
That's
I
good.
think
That's
that was
good.
a very good thing to bring up.
Yep.
All right.
Cool.
Cool. All right. So that's what we're gonna do. All right. Go ahead.
Welcome to the Centerless Society.
But these are fictional characters. Fictional characters. Am I getting through to you?
Ready to see a grown-ass man cry about some Star Wars and Space Wizard?
You shall have my
Tom Bombadil walks up and he's basically like, "Oi, get off him!" And the tree's like, "Oh my bad."
Let's all have a good time and have fun. But... And welcome back to Centerway Societies. We are in season 2, and this is episode 2. We are super stoked to get this going because this is something that's very near, very dear to the hearts of all of us here, except one little bandwagon boy that doesn't like the MCU, which is our topic today. We're going to be going over a specific thing that I think a lot of fans can feel, which is what the fuck can the MCU do to get back on track?
Yep.
And it's just how I feel. And we're going to talk a little bit about the rise with some background from the MCU. We're going to talk about how they inevitably started to fall. And we're going to discuss the potential ways to get back into the groove of things because, yeah, it's been pretty fucking rough out there if you're a superhero fan. And without further ado, my name's Jordan. I've got Rob on here with me. Rob, say
Hi. I'm here.
Got
Hi, guys.
Dustin on here with me.
I am also here. What's
He
up,
is,
Jordan?
He is also there. And then I've got Bat James with me.
the defender.
He's returned.
He's returned. No. So
That
yeah,
was James was sitting there salty the entire time. It's like, I don't want to do this, guys. I
he's
hate
just more
this.
upset that nobody's talking about DC at all.
Well, originally our plan was to do how we would resurrect the DCEU, but the MCU
That's
seemed like
another
more
time.
fun.
I mean, but
that's
it's the most fitting thing is just honestly give it to somebody that enjoys comics and wants control and wants to be
Well,
their Kevin Feige, which is
well,
exactly what happened.
yeah. We'll
We'll have to
get
see.
to an episode like that later on.
Yeah, we'll
For
have to
now, are you wearing a Superman shirt as well?
see. Jesus fucking Christ.
This is so much saltiness today.
He's gonna take off his shirt and he's just gonna have Wonder Woman pasties.
Well, since you
Oh
said
my
that,
God.
no,
Oh my God. Oh my.
we don't want to get banned.
From
what?
So
We're not monetized. It's fine.
yeah, we'll be fine. So I know I have a lot of points to go over. I know Dustin, you were really interested in doing this episode, talking about it. James is James. I'm sure he'll have some things. I know Rob, you were more like this is more just of like a funny thing for me. Did you?
Well, it's not necessarily a funny thing, but when we were talking about like ways to actually resurrect and get it humming again, a thought came to me, and it is slightly more on the ridiculous side than it is actually something that they could do. So, but I figured we want to talk about how the MCU got to where it was first, and then go into like ways that we can.
Sure. We
I
can
just
do
thought that might be let's do that. Let's talk about.
Sure. So, in my humble opinion, the MCU got to be where they were with a few key items that they did, which is one, they were humble but took risks, which I know sounds weird, right?
Yeah.
Very humble beginnings. There wasn't a ton of story to tell. There was introduction because you have to have your introduction phase
Mm-hmm.
for everything. You can't just be like Iron Man's killing stuff and we're in the story. Like they built that. Iron Man is the stepping stone, which the risk is starting the MCU essentially. That's
Yeah.
their risk. They took a big risk on an actor who had plenty of issues in his personal life.
And starting with Iron Man, because
And
like,
starting with Iron Man, we've talked. He ended up becoming a huge character because of the MCU, but not
Mhm.
necessarily like a highly notable character when they were going to go shoot and start this world
yeah,
off.
pre MCU, he was very much a background character. He was
Yep.
like, he was the guy that just bankrolled everything.
Exactly. So, humble but took risks. So humble beginnings and took risks. They, I feel like that they developed characters in a much more uh, intelligent way, I would say. They actually gave a shit about the character arc. They cared about what the story was behind it. And in comic book fashion, they did do, first appearances that kind of came in with this character. For instance, we get Black Widow and Iron Man 2 that becomes character, goes into it. Kind of like how you have Hulk 180 and 181, the first appearance of Wolverine with Hulk, and then the first full comic book with Wolverine in it to
Mhm.
tell the story. Very comic book like. So, um, not to
The-
mention the story itself. There's a overlying story that they built to from the very beginning. I mean, probably what a few movies after Iron Man, they're starting to get the idea for, hey, we want to have the Infinity story, right? Because they start introducing the Infinity Stones very early on.
My understanding is that Joss Whedon,
Joss,
Joss Whedon
Joss.
threw in the Thanos teaser at the end of Avengers, kind of as a Hail Mary. Like, I don't think we're actually going with this, but threw it out there.
Yeah.
So each introduction was kind of its own thing, but they tied it together.
Mm-hmm.
And then Thanos was brought up kind of coincidentally.
Yep.
And then from that point on, it became the stepping stones for an overarching story that ended up with the Infinity Saga.
Yep. And it had a lot of stuff to go into it that was now not all of the first 27, we'll call the Infinity Saga. Not
Uh-huh.
all of them were amazing movies,
No.
Yeah.
but they had a lot of great movies in that time. They had a lot of great actors and actresses who put their time into the role and they developed the character in a way that made sense. You want to see development. For instance, right now, the biggest thing that I like to show that there's no development is as much as I enjoy her as an actress and other roles she's done, Brie Larson's Captain Marvel is literally the same character the entire way through and hasn't grown really at all.
Well,
Mhm.
have you guys watched the Marvels yet?
I did. It was okay.
Okay. Oh,
She,
that's
I
what I
have
told
not.
yeah, it was okay.
Yeah,
But
I'm a
her,
DC
her,
shill
yeah,
now. I didn't
her,
watch it.
her. Aside from that, because she's in a few other things, her
Yeah.
character is the exact same character, and it's like this very, very arrogant, just like I'm better than you, and I don't have any lessons to learn character. It's weird because it's like you if you start there, you can't really grow too much from there other than in developing a character that's that way, like Robert Downey Jr. He's very cocky, arrogant. He eventually realizes what his stuff's doing. He changes the world around. He goes and does a lot of things, charitable donations to the MIT program. He actually thinks that they should be held in check because of him getting the kids in Sokovia and the people in Sokovia, like, a lot of people die from that. And then the parent comes and at the MIT meeting right after, she's like, my son was there. And then he's like, he actually feels that. That's not the Tony Stark we would have met pre Iron Man. He was arrogant and cocky and was set in his ways. So there's the development stage for that. I feel like they've lost their touch on developing a character and a story.
Well, I think with as far as like Tony Stark getting into Captain America, not Captain America Civil War, but Avengers Age of Ultron,
Mhm.
you've had him for 4 movies worth of growth where he was one of the main characters and one of the main points of the story. Whereas Captain Marvel, you've had her one movie, and then Infinity, no, not Infinity War, but
Endgame.
Endgame, and that's
Yep.
it. And honestly, even in Endgame, she wasn't grown at all because she's only on screen for 15, 20 minutes, maybe, of a
And she's
3 hour
mostly
movie.
been around space.
That's true. So
Yeah.
really, you see some growth in the Marvels because she realized she screwed up somewhere when it comes to oh, not the Skrull, the who she used to work for. Guys,
Kree.
my brain. The Kree, where
Yeah.
she basically destroyed the Kree homeworld. And she realized she screwed up, and that's coming back to haunt her. So she has lessons to learn, and she realizes that in the movie. It's just not nearly as progressive as what Tony Stark went through. So you're still seeing a character develop here. It's just not nearly as well as what they did with as far as Tony Stark was concerned.
Oh, and it's
But
not
Tony
just Tony
Stark is
Stark
also
either.
like the probably the pinnacle of what Marvel did or the MCU did was
well, look
grow
at
that character.
well, no, that I
they
would
grew really
disagree.
most of them.
They grew like the original core. They grew perfectly.
Yes.
Captain America, Chris Evans, obviously, Steve Rogers, whichever way you want to go about it. Black Widow grew as a character. I mean, the original core. Look at fucking Thor. And Thor is the weirdest example though, too, because it's like
Yeah, that's true.
they made him a dummy into like very dark and violent to a degree, and then it was like dummy comedic relief, and then weird comedic relief, and but then serious notes like in Age of Ultron, and it's like what is this character has so many things going on with it, but it was still like it still worked outside of Dark World.
Yeah.
I
Dark
was
World
sitting
was
here
just weird.
thinking, because we talked about how they don't all have like their great moments. It's a sequel thing, if you think about it, because Iron Man 2, Thor the Dark World.
Oh, well, hold
I'm
on. We're gonna stop right there.
Yeah.
Are you trying to say Iron Man 2 didn't hit?
No, I don't think it
What?
did.
Iron
You
Man
didn't
2
think
is
Iron Man
I
2
don't
fantastic.
think
hit?
I don't
I
think it was that great. I
I
mean
don't think it
I think
was the best sequel,
I
but
think
it
it
grew the
set stuff
character.
up and it helped
Yes.
grow the character, but I don't think it was like a I think I watched
Dude,
it once and I went to watch it again.
Iron Man 2 is like one of the ones I'll go back and rewatch.
Iron Man 2 is a
The
good sequel,
Whiplash.
not a
I like
great
Whiplash.
sequel.
Well, not to mention you got Black Widow that's an appearance. You get the start of the Avengers Initiative, which doesn't come to fruition until later. At least Nick Fury talking about it. You get to see the fact that Nick Fury and Black Widow are working as a team, and like you get to see him.
You get
It's
to
so
see
much
Rhodey
stuff.
change faces.
Yes.
Was Iron Man 1 or 2 the one where Nick Fury shows up at the end and he's like,
Iron Man 1, Nick Fury showed up in the end credits scene.
"You think you're the only superhero?"
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah.
I love that moment.
So yeah, there was a lot in my opinion, a lot better character development. Another issue I'm taking with the MCU right now is they're bringing in characters that are interesting characters, and then they're just nixing the story and saying, oh, it's whatever, we're not going to even go into it. Apparently, I don't know if you've seen the news or anything about it. What's her name? Charlize
Charlize Theron,
yes,
the
who's supposed to
character
be
end of Doctor Strange.
exactly. She's heard nothing from them, and there's no potential anything going on. And it's like, why have that cutscene and show this character, and then not even try and do anything with it? Now, the only thing I can think of is that they're just getting rid of characters, and they're just trying to kind of revamp their storyline and what they're doing. That would be the only thing I could think. But it's like, if you're
Try
that
and
bad off,
streamline everything.
if you're that bad off, like you had to have seen that you were that bad off right beforehand. Why would you show new characters? We're probably not going to get was it Hercules anytime soon now.
Now, hold on. So I
He's
don't know if
playing
that's
soccer.
necessarily true because we've dealt with this for years, and especially keeping up with this with Firebear and stuff. It's like they will purposefully either tell the actors not to say something or tell them
Yes.
to say something that's completely false
Right.
because they don't want to give away information. So if Charlize
Theron.
whatever.
It's a weird name, I know, but
Yeah. Anyway, we don't actually know if she's been contacted, is all I'm saying.
that's fair. Also, look at we can go back to Eternals, right?
Oh, that's
When did Eternals come out?
November of 21.
so a
2021.
little over 2 years ago.
Yep.
Has it only been that long?
Yeah.
There's no way. It was
How do you
21. Wow.
remember that? Like
Yeah,
right
how did you
offhand?
remember that
Be-
specifically?
because we went to see Dustin and I went to see it when he was down here.
Did we?
Oh, there you go.
And that
Yeah,
was
because
Gabe was born. He came down to visit Gabe, and we went for his birthday.
James
Yeah, I
is
went to
over
go
here
see that
like
with.
fucking a beautiful mind, and I'm over here like I can't remember a goddamn thing about the trip. Yeah.
Um, while I was okay with the Turtles, it's a pretty garbage movie if you watch it.
Yeah.
It does nothing for the MCU. Probably will be parts of it will be taken in the future. We still have, Big Hand coming out of the ground for one
Yeah.
of So outside of that, that movie really did nothing. It also showed what's the character that Jon Snow's supposed to play, Black
Black
Knight,
Knight,
like that. Don't know when
Oh,
that's
which is
Black
gonna
supposed to
Knight.
happen.
be
Black
tied into
Knight.
Blade.
Yeah, Blade, and then there's one more.
Which Blade has had so many directors come in and out of it, and the story's been rewritten, and
Which was
like
also kind of a reference to what was it called, M13 or something,
Yeah.
their little group of defenders or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
yep. And then I think the idea of doing too many movies and TV shows at a time has really fucked up a lot of the issues when it comes to MCU.
Yeah.
What the issues were very small, right? They weren't like these huge, imploding issues. But when you take a ton of them and start adding them all together, then they kind of implode. So where there could have been issues before when they were doing 2 movies a year or whatever it was, and now they're doing 3 or 4 movies a year and they have 7 Disney Plus coming out, they're just stretched beyond what their limits are.
I slightly disagree with that. Just because towards the end, when they were gearing up towards Infinity War and Endgame, they were putting out 3 or 4 movies a year.
Yeah, but
And
not
they
Disney
were
Plus.
not Disney Plus, no, but they were chugging along and doing well. It seemed like after Spider-Man No Way, not No Way Home, Spider-Man Far From Home, that's when things started. The rails, well, COVID really kind of fucked everything up, but that's really where the train went off the rails because it seems while they had an idea of where they wanted to go, they tried doing too much at once, like what you're saying. But it's like Eternals seemed like it was going this way with a story, and Shang-Chi was going this way with a story. And like with the original phase one, everything seemed to be pushing towards the same direction and making sure that the story was cohesive and made sense, even though each one was telling a different story, it was lining up to go one direction. Everything now seems like it's just going nowhere.
Well, you don't know where it's going to go because, for instance, like the next reference to Shang-Chi would be um you have the end credit scene in Shang-Chi where, or the sorry, not the end credit scene, the scene where they are in Tokyo or wherever and they're about to go do the fight, and you see like Abomination and stuff like that
Yeah.
on screen. They get ported back. That gets used and She-Hulk,
Yes.
and they tie it in with She-Hulk, and then now She-Hulk is canceled. They're not doing any more seasons of it. It's
Yeah.
done. And it's like they're doing all of this stuff and it's like it's not leading to anything. So when you have 10, 12, 14 new characters you're trying to develop, but they are going different ways, and then most of them aren't even going to be used again, or whatever their material is over with already, and
Yeah.
you're not tying them into a story. What was the point? Like, I didn't need She-Hulk if you weren't going to build her into the MCU.
No, hold on. So that really got me thinking. Like, I mean, I know I've brought this up at some point before,
Sure.
but is this one of those things where in like 4 years we're gonna say like, oh my God, this was big brain play, and everything has actually been leading up to this, and if we go back and rewatch it, it's gonna seem much more cohesive, or is it really leading to nothing?
Well, see, that's the thing though. Like, when, and I'm sure that there were complaints and stuff about the phase one, phase two, whatever, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But not like what's going on right now. We lived through all of the original phases, and there were
did.
some pretty garbage movies. Dark World, I'll always say that because it was just it.
I
While
didn't hate it as much as everybody else, but
I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't like it was like a horrible movie. It was just like, uh,
it
It's
was not
like
the
we
best.
had to make it movie.
yeah, we
Yeah.
have to do Thor 2, and we don't know what we want to do with the character. And we also, by the way, we need to put an Infinity Stone in there somehow. We have to tie that in, and that's what it seemed like. That's literally what it sounds like the writing department did for that movie.
Yeah.
But you don't get to take. Here's the thing: they took the risk and the chances in the beginning, and that's what made the MCU good. They're not taking the risks anymore. They're just thinking they can put a movie out or put a show out, and because they have a really good fan base now, that everybody's accepting of that. That's not where they're at anymore. While
There's
the
way
MCU
too much burnout right now.
there is.
Yeah.
While the MCU has done fantastic things, when you start churning stuff out, you eventually are going to have fans like myself. I'm a diehard MCU guy. I'm sure Dustin, you are probably too. Rob, I know James, you're probably not. You just enjoy,
No,
DC.
I will say I joke around about the DC and stuff. I do love DC comics more than I do Marvel when it comes down to it, but I did love Marvel movies.
Yeah, because they had
So,
a formula,
yeah.
they stuck to it, and it worked well for them. It's like Coca-Cola. Okay, it's almost like Coca-Cola took out the cocaine in their soda, and now you're like, it's good, caffeine's fine, but man, I'm not like really about it anymore.
I don't feel alive anymore.
I don't feel, yeah, and that's where like MCU is. It's like they took the cocaine out of Coca-Cola, almost.
Huh.
That's how I feel. It's been garbage release after garbage release. Guardians 3 it was pretty good. It was a 7 out of 10, or at least 7.5 out of 10 is what I would put it at.
Yeah.
But all the other movies were, honestly, the only advantage some of these movies got was that I saw them with Rob and Dustin, and that's why I enjoyed it. Going and seeing the movie with them was the experience I enjoyed versus actually seeing the movie.
Yeah, and like talking shit about it out in the parking lot.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just like we did with the opening scene of Flash while we were in the theater with the one other guy.
Oh,
like,
God,
what the
that was
fuck
so
is this
freaking
movie?
Yeah. That is
So-
hands down the most fun experience when you're in there with like one other person and we're like, the fuck was that? And
We
he's
could
like,
actually talk shit and it was
I
fine.
know.
Yeah, he's like,
Right.
what the
So-
fuck's up with the baby?
So quick thing, just because I decided to look up what the actual schedule so far is for Marvel releases. And this year, as far as the MCU is concerned,
one movie.
Echo, Deadpool, and Agatha Coven of it's Darkhold Diaries. That's all as far as the MCU is concerned. Everything else is Sony Marvel. That's coming out.
Everything else, and there's a reason for it. I guarantee you, Kevin Feige last year, or executives all were like, we really need to fucking slow things down and build.
Yeah.
Now,
And honestly, for next year, you're getting Daredevil, in theory, Captain America Brave New World, in theory, the Fantastic Four movie, and in theory, Thunderbolts.
And that's all.
Even
that's
Blade
all,
is
that's all
supposed to be out.
right?
Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Captain America Brave New World are the only movies. Maybe like everything else is like to be determined. Maybe we'll see what happens. Blade has a release date.
All that stuff's going to get pushed back.
Yeah.
There's no way they release it on time, especially now with the Jonathan Majors news as of 3 weeks ago. That has to change a lot of stuff up, because Marvel's in this weird thing where they did the perfect recast and they don't want to recast ever again, and I don't know why. It's like they're afraid to just be like, oh, this guy's playing King now because this guy's an asshole.
Yeah.
Do you think some part of them is like, you know what? DC doesn't give a fuck if they have Ezra Miller in their movie. They have Amber Rose. Like,
no,
Majors, like
those are done now though. DCEU is done. Now it's James Gunn time. So,
but isn't he keeping Ezra Miller?
No. No, no, no,
Oh,
no.
I thought I
think
heard somewhere
the
that like,
only
No,
ones
God,
he's
no.
keeping, I think, is like John Cena is going to continue to play
John Cena's
Peacemaker.
playing. Yep.
oh well, he's fantastic. So
The guy who played Blue Beetle is sticking around.
Because
I still haven't seen it.
Blue Beetle is kicking off the new DC universe.
Yeah. So with all this in mind, do you guys mind if I?
Blue Beetle might be the Iron Man of this.
That's true. Who knows?
Sure.
Do you guys mind if I go into how I would
Absolutely. Go ahead.
get things back in order?
Yes.
Mhm.
2 words. Hard reset.
Oh.
We're done.
No.
Everything's done. MCU, cut it off. We're
I
done.
agree.
Mm-mm.
However, we can't just do this DC style. We can't just send a press release saying, guys, this is it. We're done. All of our characters, we're done. That's not what we're going to do. It's Marvel, damn it. We have a way of doing things. We have a story we can tell to end it all. And we have a character ready to go for it.
Jamie Chick is Wolverine.
Deadpool kills the MCU.
No, because I think
Shut
I
up.
think-
This is
hold
my
on.
time.
Okay.
Shut up.
Jordan, let him cook.
Deadpool kills the MCU because there have been now 2 types of comics where Deadpool kills Marvel. Where it literally, this
They're
is
not
ridiculous.
bad either.
This
They're really
is
good.
This is a ridiculous idea and a ridiculous way to end things. But if we're gonna tell a story and we're gonna end the MCU right where it is and then do a hard reset, this is the way to do it. And the way, if I remember right in the comics, let me look at my notes real quick because I do in fact have notes. Go me. Psycho Man is the one who alienates Wade Wilson's mind and basically convinces him to kill everyone
In the first one.
in the first one. Who do we know in the MCU who can do that? Who can manipulate people's thoughts and put ideas into their heads?
Ain't she
Yep.
dead?
The Purple Man.
No. Wanda.
Yeah, she did.
No, she's not.
Is she? Is she really?
All
Did she
you,
get crushed underneath the thing?
Oh, come on.
all you see is
It's
the red
it's
flash.
a comic book movie.
All
Do you
see is the
really
red
think
flash.
she's dead? No. Wanda, to get her ultimate revenge, manipulates the mind of Wade Wilson and sends him on a path to kill everyone. But he also kills Wanda. He takes out everyone in the MCU one at a time. And in
I
the
think-
end, Wanda just let me. Wanda is last. Wanda is the last fight. And when he kills Wanda, his mind just goes back, resets almost. And he realizes what he's done. And in true Ryan Reynolds fashion, just looks at the camera and is like, well, time to recast. End scene. Done. MCU's finished.
And then it goes into like a Looney Tunes, like that's all, folks. Kind of moment.
Like I said, it's a ridiculous idea. They're not gonna do it. But if we're gonna reset the MCU, if we're going to bring things back, because that's the thing. Right now, Marvel may be keeping a lot of hardcores. People who like Shang-Chi, who like the Eternals, who like Captain Marvel, but you're losing a lot of the casuals. My wife is one of them. So
Uh-huh.
if you want to like bring back the big names, not necessarily big names, not the actors, but new actors with some of the big comic book names that have become big since the MCU was established, this is the way to do it. It sounds ridiculous, and it probably is. But Deadpool killing the MCU is a way to end the story and a way for you to restart the MCU over again and tell new stories from the beginning.
Okay. Can I follow yours up? Because it's actually kind of similar.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. It's not a joke though. Which I don't think yours was actually a joke. I
It
think
wasn't
actually could work.
necessarily, I said it was ridiculous. I didn't say it was a joke.
Okay.
Because I'm not kidding. I think that would be a great way to A, end the story, and B, actually reset everything.
You know what? I'll give it to you, Rob. If for some reason Feige tomorrow was like, I'm gonna quit, I think that would be the perfect way to wrap up his series and just be like, it was funny though. Right?
Yeah.
I would go with the second way of doing it though.
Well, hold on. Let Dustin get into it.
Yeah.
Okay, because I think James might actually be similar to mine, so I'm gonna
Well,
fucking
mine's
steal it from him.
no, mine's with Rob, but I would do it like the second book, not the first book.
I didn't read the
Oh.
second book, so I didn't know how that one went. I was
Second
basing
book,
mine
he's
off the first.
second book, he's like hypnotized like Bucky is, and he's being
Oh,
controlled by the villains. Villains take them all out, and then he finds out, oh, I'm being controlled by the villains, and then he goes and takes out all the villains.
Okay. So my pitch, anytime you have a long running series, you have three options at a certain point, right? You have one, you have a time skip, which the MCU has already actually done at this point. They had a 5-year time skip because of the
Yep.
blip, right? Two, you can reboot or reset. Three, you can end it. And Marvel Comics has notoriously never reset. They kind of have like a soft reboot, but they never have a reset. DC does it all the time.
Yeah.
Every 6 months, they're just like, you know
New
what, fuck it.
52.
Start over, right? I say, since they're bringing up the Incursion storyline, why not do what everybody wants in the first place and follow the comics? We set up the Incursion storyline, but we did it with Kang the Conqueror, which is a little bit odd in my opinion. But Kang has failed at this point. He lost to Ant-Man. There's the Council of Kang and everything, but like for all intents and purposes, an individual Kang doesn't seem to be that big of a deal. And Jonathan Majors is having his issues. What if Doctor Doom in the background has been jumping world to world, killing Molecule Man in the background, collecting power, and joins all of the multiverse into one world and creates Battle World,
So Secret Wars.
the new Secret Wars,
I
right?
mean, they've already said that they're going to do it.
Yeah, we have God Emperor Doom, and he's ruling with an iron fist. We have Marvel Zombies over here. We have Old Man Logan. We have Deadpool. We have everything all in one spot. Every storyline we haven't seen, just craziness everywhere existing all at once. And it comes to an end. And we get a soft reboot.
So you think with like everything coming together, like they could introduce like new actors for roles, and eventually
Well,
that would be like a soft reboot for it? Is that? I'm just trying to follow what you're saying. That's all.
okay, what I'm saying is we had the Thanos saga.
Yeah.
And then we had the multiverse introduced. And we had the multiverse falling apart, which is
Yeah.
leading to the incursions. And right now it has been a jumbled clusterfuck. Right? It might
Yeah.
be going somewhere, but it might not be going somewhere. We don't know at this point. But what if it all culminates in the biggest of clusterfucks, Battle World? And then the Battle World is destroyed, and then everything returns to a new normal. And I'm
Okay.
talking about like basically square one. Like you could reset. You could have a new Tony Stark. You could have
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
yeah. You could start off with
Okay.
Reed Richards. You could start off with the First Family. You could do the MCU any way you want at this point because Marvel's starting from square one.
Okay. Soft reboot. That's not a bad idea. I mean,
Yeah.
they just have to get it there.
Yeah. You could repurpose some of the same actors if you want. You could start off with brand new fresh blood. That's my pitch. It sticks to the comics a little bit more,
Yeah.
which it seems to be what comic book fans want. And we already have the issue of Jonathan Majors not being able to be Kang. So
Who would you get for Doc Doom? Is there anyone in mind that you would think of, or I'm just curious.
to
If
be
you could cast
completely
him.
honest, I wouldn't even have him without the mask. So who plays him doesn't
Doesn't
really
matter.
matter to me. As
Okay.
long as he's big, strong, and imposing, and constantly refers to himself in the third person.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
James.
I don't know what you would call mine, but I think we should just switch universes. So I don't know if y'all remember, but there's years back, one of my favorite versions of Marvel is the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah.
So instead of the Avengers, you had the Ultimates, and you had the Ultimate Fantastic Four, you had Ultimate Spider-Man. I would love to go to a different universe, and that way you could recast people. And this would be like this is the ultimate Peter Parker. This is the ultimate Reed Richards. This is the ultimate yada yada. But it'd just be like a totally different universe. That way you don't have to do like your full on blow up the Marvel universe and stuff like that.
But the incursions are still happening, though.
Yeah, but I mean you can bring it all in at one point though, is what I'm getting at. Like you can like so and this is a bad example. The
Uh-huh.
Flash for one point. Like they brought in Michael Keaton at one point, and then they brought in at the end they brought in George Clooney, which was
Yeah.
made
Ben
absolutely no
Affleck was in the
sense.
beginning of the movie.
And it made no sense. I don't. They were just like, let's just get as many people we can in here. Yeah,
Let's show faces and names.
yeah. Like as the DC Defender says, that was stupid. But anyway,
That whole
I
movie
think
was stupid.
it was. I fast forwarded through a lot of it. I won't lie. Um, but
So
I
you
think
watched it as if you were Flash?
yes,
Oh, there
I
it is.
did. Yeah. But I think we just jump into a different universe. Let's get it started. And then at some point, maybe because I mean that's how Spider-Man, when they did the special Spider-Man thing, they bring in
Yeah.
Miles Morales, and he's the ultimate Spider-Man for a little bit. And then they have the Spider-Man comic where a different version or different universes Peter. I want to say it's the 616 Peter comes in, and he's like
Uh-huh.
they have a team up where they go after the ultimate Green Goblin, who is scary as all get out, by the way.
Yeah,
Dude
he's
is
like
like
an
a
actual goblin, right?
he's like a gargoyle pretty much.
Yeah.
That's what
I,
I would do.
I think the only thing you're going to find with that is that, well, a lot of the hardcores and the people who actually keep up with the comics will understand what's going on. A lot of the casuals are just going to be like, what the fuck is this? Because you're going from the MCU to, hey guys, just so you know, this is a different universe. So everything that's happened up until this point, forget about it. So at that point, you're just doing a hard reset because you're bringing, while it's the same
Well,
people, it's the same characters, it's the ultimate versions of them. It's still going to be a different timeline, a different story, a different universe. So I think that's going to mess with some of the people, and they may just not even want
I
anything
do
to do
think
with
you
it.
would need to keep one character.
Who's that?
I don't know. I haven't figured that out. I've been
Oh,
I've
okay.
been thinking about it. Yeah. I mean,
You need to keep
Doctor
one
Strange.
character. I don't know who that is.
I think
Doctor
Doctor
Strange would make
Strange would be
sense.
the one who makes the most sense.
Yeah.
But that way he goes into the different universe, and then now we're like, oh well, I'm gonna hang out here and try to save this world because I can't really. Hi, Gabe. I can't really save this one.
Gabe has opinions.
What do you think about the Marvel universe?
They should save what character?
I had to yell at him to get out a little bit ago because he came in here pantsless.
He was Pooh Bear in it?
He was Pooh
There's
Bear in
Pooh
it.
Bear in it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I will say it's very interesting that at least we haven't heard Jordan's yet, but 3 out of 4 of us have said reboot. And
Right.
apparently I stole Jordan's shit.
Did you really?
I haven't said yes or no to it yet.
Okay.
It was either that. What?
I was gonna say Justin's just assuming.
Yeah, he's assuming.
I'm making an ass out of you and me, James.
I don't need help doing that.
It's either that or he was like, oh man, Deadpool kills the Marvel universe. The guys are gonna love this shit. And then he's like, fucking Rob, the whole time he's saying it.
I thought you guys would love it. I thought you guys would have found it
I
fun.
actually really like it.
I do too, but I do think that you got to go with the second book because that way you could get a lot more characters in.
Yeah, but at this point, you just need to freaking end it. How many people do you want to pay to come in for one movie?
Oh
don't
man,
know,
that's when you
Endgame?
spend the money, dude. Make Endgame look like a drop in the bucket.
Yeah,
Right?
You're gonna finish it. Finish it big.
Yeah.
Go big, go home.
Yeah, Endgame and what was it? Infinity
War.
Infinity War and Endgame was a $2 billion double movie, whatever.
Mhm.
No, 1 billion.
Yeah.
This is going to be a $2 billion movie.
$2 billion 3-part movie with
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Reynolds running around killing everyone.
Yep.
I'd watch it.
I would too.
All right.
All right, Jordan, what do you got?
I'll get into how the MCU needs to be saved. You have to go big to go back to being small and simple. Sounds interesting. Yes.
Okay.
Now, when you get rid of the original core from your cast, and I'm sure you could look up the statistic on it, or you could even just look up the revenue that the movies are bringing in then versus now. There is no good characters or actors playing those characters anymore.
Benedict Cumberbatch playing Doctor Strange is good.
Yeah. I like
What?
Paul Rudd as Ant-Man.
But Multiverse Madness wasn't like fantastic.
Multiverse Madness was fine.
Yeah.
Ant-Man
I will
3
say that's
was
the last one I've watched.
okay, which now Ant-Man 3 makes no sense.
No. But that's not Paul Rudd's fault.
No, he's a fine actor, but he's not the core. Benedict Cumberbatch is a fine actor. It's not the core. So, yes, Dustin, you went a little bit into mine.
Yes.
Just a hair. So, realistically, Secret Wars was supposed to come out in what, 26?
Yeah.
I
Because
believe so.
No, hold on.
It's either 26 or 27 now. I think it was originally 25 and then it moved back to 26.
Kang Dynasty was supposed to come out May 1st, 2026.
Oh,
Secret
27.
Wars. Well, these are all like the pushed back ones. Avengers Secret War is supposed to come out May 7th, 2027.
And I just want to point out too that we don't know that that's Secret War as in like the Incursion Secret War or like the original Battle World kind of situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you have, based off of this timeline, you have 3 years to build up an Avengers level team. They can't do it. I don't care what characters they introduce right now. You're not bringing in an Avengers level team in the next 3 years, especially when you're releasing one movie this year. Sure, you have a lot of side characters. You have a lot of TV characters that are coming in, but they're not Avengers level characters.
Yeah.
So what has to happen, in my opinion, is move up Avengers Secret Wars because no one gives a shit who the Avengers team is that you're going to put into it 3 years from now. Move it up. Have it be its own standalone movie. It doesn't need to be a movie that has 27 movies leading into it. We've had it. Infinity Saga is already there. Watch that if you want to go through that. Bring up Avengers Secret Wars. And what we need to have happen is we need to have the original core characters, Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., all of the original core, come in from different universes. Their personalities need to be completely separate of what we know as their Marvel characters. So the characters we knew and grew to love as Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, yada, yada.
Uh-huh.
I don't want any of those personalities or that character development to come back for this movie. And the reason being is it would not be authentic at all. If you have what we're in 616, right? Is what our universe is considered right now for MCU.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 838, Tony Stark, who is Robert Downey Jr., should not be the same as 616, if that makes sense. Because they had different development they had to go through.
Okay, so maybe he's like the one going through the drinking problem, or maybe he's the one with the incredibly inflated ego, but not in like a funny way.
Right.
Okay.
Different, like you don't change the whole character completely out. It's still going to be whatever their character is about, but they're not going to be our Tony Stark as we knew and loved him.
He's an alt universe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love Secret Wars. I love original Battle World. I have somewhere in boxes my original series of the Secret Wars.
Oh, the symbiote Spider-Man
Yes, I
cover
do.
and everything.
Yes,
Yeah,
Yes, I do. Yes. Amazing 1984, best series that Marvel did for a long time. I like the idea of what I think would be cool is to take those characters, take a shit ton of characters, use the incursions, and build this world, battle world. And I like the idea of Doom coming in for it. I like not unmasking Doom because Doom needs to be used in the future to build the rest of the story for the MCU after this. But Doom needs to bring all these characters together, and then you have Avengers with different personality traits from every other universe that come together and fight and do the whole battle world thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I actually would not mind if they split the series off and instead of, battle world being blown up or whatever or destroyed and everything gets, synced back together or it becoming all one world, I actually wouldn't mind if the characters went back to their own universes, the incursions are done, but now, and it might be a little more convoluted for the typical fan to follow, but I'd rather see what's going on in 838 Tony Stark's life.
Kind of like James.
Kind of like James.
Oh my God, he's like the incursions of our theories.
Yeah, that was what I thought would be cool because I love Secret Wars. I don't want to see that to go, but at the same time, in 3 years, they're not going to build an Avengers level team, an appropriate Avengers level team to go. I don't know what their story is going to be. You would hope it's going to be either the Battle World or what the new one is, or something completely different. You don't know what they're going to do, but hopefully, and most people would be more stoked, I believe, on 84 Secret Wars.
Dude, okay. I think you just solidified the problem with everything that they're doing right now. There is zero chemistry in the MCU right now.
Yes.
The original team had their moment where they came together, they didn't have chemistry, and Coulson died to bring them together.
And
then we had
Captain
a whole,
America bloody cards, original bloody cards that he wanted them to sign.
And then they had a whole phase where they worked together as a team. They had their fights. They fought amongst each other. There was intermingling everything. They did the whole thing. And now everybody's fucking separate. Nobody interacts. If they do, they're just kind of like, hey, I know you exist.
Marvel has always been and always will continue to be a comic company that when they write in their stories, it's very rare that you have just one singular character the entire time by itself.
That's very true.
They either introduce new characters and team up with them, or they go and become different versions of the Avengers, the Dark Avengers, the West Coast Avengers, the Teenage Avengers, which is what me and Rob have already talked about. I think they're starting to build the Teenage Avengers with all the fucking young kids and shit that they're bringing into the stories.
Well, the Marvels end credit scene basically set that up.
I mentioned that to you before I saw Marvels.
Yes.
Which I felt good about because I was like,
which is why I wanted to say something, but I didn't.
I figured. But that's how you do this. And then you can go and you can have several different fucking storylines happening at once. I don't care if it's not going to connect, but you have to have good storylines. If you're going to do the Teenage Avengers, that's great. Develop the story. If you're going to do the West Coast Avengers, that's great. Develop the story. I, for one, would love to see alternate universe Captain America. And I would actually like to see the full story of Strike Force because they put it in one fucking scene of a movie and that was about it. And then not to mention, Crossbones has been around since 1989 and you get one scene at the very opening of an Avengers movie. Or sorry, Civil War, not Avengers. But still, it's like those characters, like Captain America didn't get to see his greatest foes and build the story with that from the original phase, which is fine because that would have been a lot of stuff. But you have the opportunity to now go and do that.
Yeah.
Go build the legit stories, have it happen, have different universes, pay the fucking actors what they need to be paid, put the money into it, and I guarantee you that people will come to the theaters willing to give you their wallet.
I completely agree with you. Because, like, one of the greatest things about comic books is, like, having the weird team ups, like, developing the characters and having them intermingle. So when later events happen, they're so much
There's
cooler.
chemistry.
Like one of my favorite series of all time is when Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange, both my favorite characters, go to hell and fight Mephisto for Doom's mother's soul. And then later on, when like the incursions happen and Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange are teaming up to save the multiverse, it means so much more because it's like, hey, they have a long history together. And
Interesting. It almost sounds like when Black Widow appeared in Iron Man 2, and then they had their back and forth over the years where she thinks that he's arrogant, and then she agrees with him in Age of Ultron, and then fights alongside him until he dies. I mean, that's the way things should be. They're not doing that.
Two
No.
things.
Go ahead.
Civil War, not Age of Ultron.
Yeah, I said something. I
No,
did.
you didn't. You
I
said
correct,
Age of Ultron.
I said Age of Ultron, and I correct myself. I said,
Okay,
wait,
well,
Civil
I didn't
War.
hear that part. Two, are we not giving them the appropriate amount of time to build the chemistry? Because they have to start a brand new Avengers team. They don't have the original team anymore. Are we being too impatient and demanding too much of them right now, since they have to build straight from the beginning all over again and build a new team? Because we went from Iron Man in 2008 to getting Infinity War, what, 2018, 2019?
Well,
2018.
hold on. Yeah, right, but we had Avengers just 4 years after Iron Man.
Yes.
But Endgame ended in 2019, Rob.
Yes, but we also went through COVID, which screwed everything up. At that point, all plans just went right off out the window.
I don't think their plans went out the window as much as it just maybe took a little bit longer
Yes,
to do
but
a
the
couple of
timing
things.
of everything got screwed up. So at this point, are we giving them the right amount of time? Because we really didn't kick off again until 2021. So it's been a little over 2 years. And now that this year they have to reset everything and Jonathan Majors screwed everything up because he's an asshat.
So they're not going to develop that at all.
They have to, but now they have to pivot. So
exactly. So
what I'm saying is, are we not giving them the appropriate amount of time to try and develop the chemistry?
They don't. Here's the thing. I don't think it's that we're not giving them the appropriate time. They do not have the appropriate amount of time to do it now. You're past you can't, and that's the thing with doing the Thanos storyline and doing Infinity War and Endgame. You can't go from two of the biggest movies ever to not having anything ready to go in your future. Because right now, as it stands, it's pretty slim pickings at the moment. It really is. You have a couple of characters left over from the Infinity Saga, and then you're trying to build like 15 characters coming in, and there's been a lot of issue with bringing those characters in. There's been a lot of haste, and now there's no teaming up. There's no chemistry going into the future, and not to mention 4 years after Endgame and building the new phase one. They should have thought about that way before Endgame ever had. Infinity War and Endgame, they should have had movies in production ready to go for their new phase after that would build upon what they're doing in the future versus going and doing like the Spider-Man. They could have waited a little bit longer for Spider-Man. It wouldn't have hurt anybody.
And I want to add to it, like a lot of the movies that we're getting too are killing off the old cast or ending their teams.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I'll see Hawkeye ever again. I'm pretty sure Hawkeye's pretty much
right.
Well, no, that has nothing to do with, but that was the thing with Hawkeye, the TV series, was Jeremy Renner passing on the torch. Because there was a natural
I get that. Yeah.
handing of the baton to the next character taking on the persona of Hawkeye. So yes, it's ending Clint Barton's story, but it's keeping the character around and building this new character.
But it compounds the problem that we're saying exists. Yes, Clint is done, but Kate Bishop came in. Now we have a new Hawkeye, but
no chemistry.
No chemistry.
Build it again.
Yeah. We
But
spent an
yes.
entire series introducing a character who's had one outing as a superhero and does not know anybody else.
well,
Well, not necessarily at this point, because at the end of the
now she
Marvels,
does.
you have Miss Marvel,
Miss
Kamala Khan,
yeah.
introducing herself to Kate Bishop, and even name dropping Cassie Lang,
Yeah.
and building towards a Young Avengers,
Well,
where
I'm
you could
sure they're
have.
such good friends and they've had adventures off screen together.
But that's the thing. That's
Don't
why
you got
I'm.
Black Widow's sister
That's
too?
why you do.
Yeah,
have
but that she's supposed to be
she's
in
gonna be
Thunderbolts,
she's
and
gonna
at
be
this point,
Thunderbolts. Yeah.
Thunderbolts is
God
God only
knows
knows
what.
what's going to happen with that.
But that being said, that's why I'm saying right now, if you took Secret Wars and brought it up, you could still make an amazing movie out of it with the original core. You could have all these extra characters. You could do this whole big battle world. I think that's fantastic. I think a lot of comic book fans and outside fans, regular casual fans, would love to see that. But two, while that's being done and they're going and doing that, fucking build your production for these teams to start finally building the chemistry. Rewrite how it's supposed to happen because Kang's gone. Okay. We don't even know what our second Avengers movie is right now. We know we have Secret Wars. Kang Dynasty, that title has been renamed. It's just Avengers 5 now or 6 or something like that.
5.
5. Yeah.
Secret Wars is supposed to be 6.
Yeah. So they completely wiped the name with Kang's Dynasty. That shit's going to be over. Here's your chance. I never think a hard reset's good on anything. That's why when DC did it, I thought that was the dumbest move ever. It's really weird to do a hard reset. I think it's just odd.
But you have to.
Not necessarily.
I mean, I stand true to any long running series has to one end reset or
I have no problem with a
Something
soft
else.
reset, but not a hard
time
reset.
skip.
Time skip.
Time skip, yeah. Yeah, time skip I never really enjoy because it's like when we were in 2018, it's like, no, it's fucking 2024 in the fucking movie world. What the hell's going on? Just seems weird. Although we're almost caught back up because
that's
it's
true.
been so bad.
They've been
but-
milking it.
They really have. But if you do the Secret Wars now, bring it up, do the movie the fans want, do the movie the comic book people want, fucking make it epic, do this whole thing with it, get your big fucking actors back in, even if it's one last hurrah. Again, I would rather have that than watch another fucking Ant-Man 3, Miss Marvels. I would do anything for that. Not to mention, man, honestly, I think one of the future characters of the MCU, if they would fucking do it and do it right, Shang-Chi is a very interesting character with a lot of depth, and they picked the right side characters for his story, and the actors and actresses playing them. They need to start building that now and bring him into teams.
Yeah.
You think that Aquafina was like
Ugh.
the
It was
right side
fantastic.
character?
Don't get me wrong. I love Shang-Chi, but I wasn't that big of a fan of Aquafina's character. I did love her in Crazy Rich Asians.
I mean, I thought she
Like,
was all right.
I just wasn't a.
Okay, so like, yeah, she was fun and she was cool and everything, but like, you want to see an Avengers style movie and you want like Aquafina in the background, like,
I don't
hey
think she's
guys,
going to
this
be
is
in the
fucking
background. but
crazy.
Well, no,
You know?
it's
She's like Louise from Ant-Man. I mean, she's that
Or-
fun side character.
she's like the girl that the one science lab girl with Thor. She's
Darcy.
also Darcy. I can remember her name. Thank you. I mean, how many characters do they have that are just like this one character? It's kind of the staple for the
Randall
MCU.
Park in Ant-Man, and then into WandaVision, the FBI agent.
There's always a goofy side person in there.
I love those goofy side characters. They're great.
I don't even know if this is a hot take, but like, I really want more like Multiverse of Madness type movies. Like, it wasn't the best movie in the MCU, but the weird head trippy kind of like semi horror tone.
You just want Sam Raimi.
Yes, but I'm getting tired of the James Gunn style, like catchy soundtrack, like oddly comedic but kind of serious sometimes moment thing. Like, it was cool when James Gunn did it with the Guardians of the Galaxy, but I'm tired of everybody doing it.
But that was kind of nice because it was like a
Well,
niche little
You better
thing
get
for
ready for
Guardians.
DC, baby.
So, and I liked Thor Ragnarok. I thought that was probably the best Thor movie they did. Then Taika
That
Waititi
was
just went fucking off.
100%, 100% the best movie
Thor Love and
that they
Thunder
did.
just the more I think about it, it
It
just
was it was weird.
other than bringing in Hercules, which I think would be like a fun like battle movie for Thor, Thor versus Hercules, where Hercules is trying to hunt Thor down. I think that would be a fun fifth movie if they actually wanted to do it. But at the same time, I'm also kind of over it. So
See, he's one of the characters I don't mind if he's gone from the MCU. I know that sounds weird, but I don't need more Thor.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm more excited for like the street level, even though I've been having a hard time getting through Echo. Like
Echo
I
is
love
rough. It's
Daredevil.
rough.
I
Echo is
love
rough.
Daredevil. Maybe it is because I don't know ASL, and a lot of it is you have to be paying attention
Yes.
in order to actually,
But that's
know
an
what's
issue,
going on.
right? I have the time to pay attention, and it's not one. I don't want to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
It's not drawing me in. It's okay.
Is it wrong that like I'm watching this and the only part okay, I'm only one episode in, but the only part of it I'm actually interested in is going, oh man, when is Matt Murdock gonna show up? Oh God, I hope they show Kingpin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
know anything about Echo. I even read
honestly
the
I'm
comics.
I'm more excited for Daredevil Born Again than I am for literally anything else the MCU is doing.
You were a really big Daredevil fan from
I
the
really love
Netflix
Daredevil.
series.
I love I was a big fan of the comics. I like Matt Murdock. I think he's a great character, and I think
He's
Charlie
very
Cox
cool.
is like the perfect version of Matt Murdock.
Ben Affleck
But
was better.
no, oh bullshit.
Oh, get out of here.
I just
Mute it.
wanted
You
to
know
see.
what?
I just wanted to see how mad.
Mute. Don't talk. You're done.
Yeah.
I just
So,
wanted to make y'all mad real quick.
Hey, James didn't get muted this episode.
no, he didn't.
Yet.
He also
Yet.
didn't talk a lot this episode. So I think that's it for this episode. I think we all had some great ideas. I still think Deadpool kills the MCU is the way to go, but that's just me. Just because it's just the right side of ridiculous. If you want to do a hard reset,
See, the
that's the
funny
way to
thing
go.
is I'm pretty sure in the movie coming out, Deadpool's supposed to kill Fox.
I'm okay with
Like
that.
I'm pretty sure that's part of the plot. He's supposed to kill the Fox.
Really?
He's supposed to kill the Fox universe.
That's amazing.
I'm
Yes.
okay with that. Now I can't wait for Deadpool 3.
Yeah, that's been some rumor around. Is he's supposed
So.
to kill the Fox universe?
Rob
But,
gets his wish, kind of.
Yeah. So this was fun. Next week we are actually going back into fan theories. I know that's crazy because James has some theories that he wants to share with us. So and if that's not a tease, I don't know what is.
Can we get like an intro of like keys jingling?
I think I can make that work.
Yeah.
So
Keys.
So before we actually say goodbye, we do have one thing that we need to do because you see we are recording on Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024. And on January 24th, 2024 is a very special day for the show, and that is because it is the Defender's birthday. And with
It's
that
my
in
birthday?
mind, happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you. Oh
you.
God, this is gonna be so bad.
Happy
birthday
birthday
to you.
Happy
birthday.
Why is the tempo so goddamn slow?
This is so bad.
Happy
birthday to you. God,
Why
that
was that so slow?
Thank you.
because I
don't
kept
know,
trying to
it's-
like slow down to keep up with you guys because of the lag, and
It's
it was
it's
just
it's the Centerway
latency.
Society. It couldn't
Latency.
happen any other way.
I was
latency.
gonna say that had to be how it went. Anyways, you can find us over on Facebook,
Yeah.
facebook.com/the Centerway Society. You can find us over on Instagram at Facebook at TikTok. No, you can find us on TikTok at tiktok.com/@the Centerway Society. Obviously Spotify, Apple Podcast, not Google Podcasts, because Google Podcasts are shutting down in March. I just got that email this morning. So
What?
now, so
Really?
starting March 1st, Google Podcasts is no more.
Well, they had 4
Um,
listeners total, so
Yeah, pretty much. So not there anymore. But Amazon Podcasts, we're there, and obviously over on YouTube. Just search for the Sunaway Society. You could find all of our episodes there. Um, Next week we're going back to theories. I'm pretty excited about that. And I don't know about the rest of the guys, but I will be at GalaxyCon in Richmond, wandering around, throwing out stickers and T-shirts to people because we are actually having a couple T-shirts made for us by our good friend Jamie Cheek, former member of the Fire Bear Republic,
Mhm.
and friend
I'll
of the show, even though
I'll
he
be at
hates the show.
Pensacon.
And James will be
Yeah.
at Pensacon, so I'll send him some stickers so he
Yeah.
can hand those out.
And go to
Um,
Pensacon and tell him happy birthday.
Yeah.
Oh,
When is
thank you, guys.
When is Pensacon anyway?
It's actually the end of February.
Yeah, GalaxyCon isn't
Okay,
until
I'm
March.
belated.
gonna meet
birthday.
Hellboy.
You're gonna be Hellboy, really?
I'm gonna meet Hellboy.
Oh,
Ron
dope.
Perlman is gonna
Ron
be there.
Perlman's gonna be there.
Yeah.
Jamie Tart is gonna be at GalaxyCon.
You get
Phil
to meet
Dunster.
Sting.
I love how you
Sting
call
is
him-
gonna be at GalaxyCon.
I love how Ron Perlman for you is Hellboy, but for me he's Clay from Sons of Anarchy.
Ooh, yeah. He was also in Blade 2.
He was.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, that's the end of this episode. Thanks guys for listening. And if you like what you hear, let us know. We love to hear back from people. Apparently the only people that really talk to us talk to James because he has fans and the rest of us don't.
And tell me that they want me to send memes to James. It's
I know,
odd.
right?
I
What
think
the
I
it's
crap?
keep sending them.
I think it's only fans of James. I think we just appease.
we
James's
we
fans.
just hold up James and he has his fans.
Uh-huh.
So anyways, we'll see you next time. Bye guys.